those of you who play Genshin or keep up with Genshin that look at my channel can probably tell that I like playing the game, since my profile picture is literally a character from the game named Mavwika. Been playing Genshin for a while. I love the game. I love its story, except Paimon. Paimon's annoying. But other than that, I like the narrative, and I've liked where it's gone so far. And I do enjoy the gameplay, but it's not without its problems. And this leads me to think that Genshin, as far as gacha games are concerned, is falling behind. And it's falling specifically behind Wuthering Waves. And the reason why I say that is because Genshin has been out for 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, and it feels like that even though they make millions of dollars every month, almost none of that is going into the game. And the reason why I say that is because we still have problems with the game that should have been fixed by now. And a prime example of this is little things in the game that annoy players. And other games like Wuthering Waves don't have these problems. I mean, even other Hoyo games don't have these issues. But these issues are mainly with the grind and with exploration, like material grinding and stuff like that. And what I'm talking about is this example right here. This material is the material required to level up Mawika's signature weapon on top of some other Natlan weapons, okay? And having to grind material is fine up until you look at it and it says you can only grind it on 3 specific days out of the week. So, on top of the FOMO you already have to deal with character banners and stuff, you also have to deal with FOMO with weapon materials because it's like, oh, you better get on and grind this material. If you don't, you're going to have to wait 2 or 3 days to be able to have a chance to get it again. Like, so far, Genshin's the only game I've played that does this to its players. Even other Hoyo games like Star Rail and Zenless don't do this. And another thing to mention along the topic of materials, talent materials are the same way, especially weekly bosses. One of the most annoying things that in Genshin to me is the fact that weekly bosses can only be grinded once a week each. Once a week each, and each boss has 3 different materials it can drop, and you only get 2 drops per week from that boss, and each character only needs 1 mat out of those 3. So it can get really annoying grinding weekly bosses because you go and hit up the boss once, and then if you don't get what you need for the character you're trying to level up, well, better luck next week, I guess. Like, it's freaking ridiculous. I mean, Zenless doesn't do that to you. Wuthering Waves doesn't do that to you. I mean, Star Rail doesn't do that to you. It's stupid. It really is. It really is. And that's not the only problem Genshin has gameplay-wise. Exploration is also annoying as well, specifically with finding chests and finding loot, because they have this nifty little thing called a loot compass that you can unlock in each region. Now, typically, unlocking it is a bit of a grind because you have to get to a certain reputation in each nation to get the compass, which is typically level 8 or 9. And once you get this compass, you can equip it, and then when you use it, it'll ping a single chest, whichever chest is the closest within a radius around where your location. Which sounds great on paper, but this is the part where I tell you it used to not be like that. This is after they buffed the compass twice. It used to just ping, if I'm not mistaken, it used to just ping a direction in which the chest was, and then you would have to just walk in that direction and try and find it. Like, it was obliviously, it was just oblivious. like the usefulness of the old compass. Now the thing is like I won't pretend to be a long time player. I started playing back earlier last year, around March or April, but I have been playing long enough and have kept up with the game enough to know that um, over the course of the game's lifespan, things have changed, but I would say that it hasn't really changed enough. Because then you look at Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves has a counterpart to the loot compass called a loot mapper. And the loot mapper, you put it down, and it literally puts a giant circle on the map and marks every single chest in that circle. Not one chest at a time, not some arbitrary location. It pings every single chest in the radius and tells you exactly where it is. It is beautiful. And not only that, they've made it even less time consuming in the new area, Renacita, the new nation the new region they've added. In Renacita, each area has these locations, these points of interest called loot locations or like treasure locations, something like that, right? And at these locations, it's a small circle. It's typically like a small area, and then you use your sensor ping, which is basically Wuthering Waves' counterpart to the elemental site from Genshin, to ping the chests, and then you just go find them. It's they made it even less time consuming. Like it's even better. And yet Genshin, despite all of this, is still using the treasure compass where it's a single ping system, which is at this point outdated in my opinion, especially when you compare it to Wuthering Waves. It's behind. And now I'm going to talk about exploration in the form of traversing terrain and stuff like that. And now I know the majority of the controversy revolving around Genshin is about the banners they released in 5.3, but I'll get to that in a minute. But I just want to cover exploration right quick, just because the quality of life is so important in gacha games. Because consumers need to feel like the game isn't trying to gouge them for their money. Because I mean, the game is the point. Gacha games by nature are predatory, but the players should still have fun in every aspect of the game. It shouldn't feel like a chore, right? But the point is that in Genshin, typically, unless you're in Natlan and you indwell in one of the Saurians, you can't fly unless you have a specific character. For example, here, Mawika can fly. She has the capability to do it, and she's not the only character. There are a handful of characters in the game that can fly without assistance. And then, as for going up walls, you have Jilonen, who can go up walls with ease. And there are, again, a handful of characters like her who can go up walls like that. But the point I'm making is that you have to own a specific character to be able to go up walls, or fly, or go across water easier without having to swim or climb like conventional means of traversing terrain. But then you go to Wuthering Waves and it's like, oh, yeah, any character can fly. Any character can run up walls. It doesn't matter. It literally just doesn't matter. Any character can do it. Any character. It, as far as I know, now things might have changed. I quit playing Wuthering Waves in the Mount Firmament update, so I don't know about the characters they've added beyond that. But as far as I know, there are no characters in Wuthering Waves that really contribute that much to being able to explore areas easier than other characters, because every character can fly and every character can sprint up walls. And it's just so much better for the players, because it's like, oh man, like Genshin players look at that, it's like, oh man, I have to own a specific character to do this or to get to this place like so much easier. And then in Wuthering Waves, like, oh, I'll just fly up there. I'll just sprint up the wall. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how Genshin still hasn't done anything, or Hoyo hasn't done anything to make exploration better for the players. Now about the banners. 5.3 is interesting in the fact that Hoyo has stacked the banners. You look at Genshin, and it's like, man, Mavwika's really cool. I want Mavwika. I'm gonna get Mavwika. And then you get her, and then you realize, wait a minute, Lolly's kinda cool, and she's also, need I mention, Lolly is one of the best characters to pair with Mavwika. And yet they put Lolly and Mavwika right next to each other in the first phase of the patch with no time extension. And as luck would have it, totally a coincidence, right? The Lantern Rite Festival, that one of Genshin's biggest events that would give players probably an extra 20, 30 pulls, I'd imagine, for Mavwika and Lolly's banners, isn't going to happen until Phase 2. So they deliberately put Mavwika and Lolly's banners ahead of the Lantern Rite, just so players might have to spend money. And that is ridiculous. And this isn't the only thing they've done. They prepped players to have to spend more money for Mavwika and Lolly by putting two characters, Nuvalet and Zhongli, who were in Phase 2 of the previous patch, coming in right before Mavwika came out, right? They put two characters, two fan favorites, right next to each other to try and drain people's wallets in preparation for Mavwika and Lolly. And then right after Mavwika and Lolly, in Phase 2, you have Arlecchino and Clorend. They have set up a nasty banner combo the past couple patches. And it is undeniable that it was deliberately set up to prey upon players to try and make them spend money. Now, thankfully, I didn't really care much for Nuvalet, Chaska, Zhongli. Like, I saved up because I wanted Mavwika and Sitlali, and I wanted Mavwika's signature. And thankfully, I won my 50-50s and I got everything without having to have to go again because I didn't lose any 50-50s. And I hope you guys were just as lucky, but thankfully their predatory actions didn't affect me because I saved up and I was ready. But I feel sorry for everybody else who got cheated out of a Mavweek or Silali or whatever they wanted because Hoyo has set up this terrible predatory banner combo. And then and it's crazy because if Wuthering Waves wasn't already catching W's all over the place, you look at Wuthering Waves and the new character that came out in their 2.0 update, Carlotta, she not only not only is she the newest character, right? Obviously, but unlike Genshin, they didn't stack another new character right beside her. It's just a normal banner. And then if you look, 80 pulls for a guaranteed 5-star. I didn't even know this was a thing. I don't know how long this was a thing. Back whenever I was still playing Wuthering Waves, and forgive me if I was wrong, but it was just like Genshin where it was 90 pulls for a character. But now it's 80. It's crazy to me how Hoyo continues to do this and allow Wuthering Waves to keep catching not L's, W's like this. It's crazy. It's it's insane how they keep letting them do this. And you'd think that they would put some money towards shifting some gameplay mechanics around, making it better for the players. I don't know, something, anything to try and make Genshin more appealing, especially to new players. But no, they don't do it. Instead, they would rather set up their banners to try and screw over their fan base. And if you guys would rather go play Wuthering Waves over Genshin, I don't blame you. I've been playing the 2.0 update for Wuthering Waves, and I must say it is fantastic. And honestly, it's objectively better than Genshin. I love Genshin. I'm still going to continue to play it, but Wuthering Waves is just the better game. Honestly, it just is. It treats its players better, it actually listens to feedback, and it doesn't actively try to screw you over any more than any other gacha game does. But anyway, that's all I really wanted to say. It's just mind-boggling to me that Genshin hasn't put anything towards trying to improve the game and would rather just try to screw over their players even more than they already do. But anyway, please like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.